would you do if you run completely out of cash? What would you do if you wanna cut a dash? Polish up the shoes, throw on something fine. We don't talk about diesels, I'm running on style this time. Cruising down the boulevard, wheels gleam in the night. Beige leather interior, looking chic alright. Money's a little tight, but I'm feeling brand new. Living large tonight, no budget reviews. Blues! What do you mean I'm not getting paid for this?
Apologies for the background noise, viewers. It's the A120 in the background there. Well, here we are again, almost 3 years after filming one of these on the channel. Here we have another Hyundai Getz. I know I'm supposed to say Hyundai, but I can't get used to that at the moment. So this is a 2007 model. It's actually quite late in production of the Getz. They were discontinued in 2009 for our market and some of markets in 2011. Facelift had occurred in October 2005. What I filmed in 2022 was a 1.4 GSI. This is a CDX. There are actually quite a few differences between these two trim levels. First of all, we've got front fog lamps on this car and alloy wheels, which makes it look a lot better. And we've got a lot more equipment actually. This is far more the kind of thing that I like, although judging by the viewing figures on the last video, which have been beyond my wildest expectations, maybe some of you preferred the cheaper model, I don't know. So the pre-facelift models, I did source one of those for a client in 2017. Have a different rear end, different front end, and some other changes as well. Boot in this car is quite large actually for the time. It's about 288 litres, which is actually bigger than a Mark 7 Fiesta. You can see as well that actually you can, I think, slide those seats forward and back, or at least there's a pull to do that. Other thing you can do as well, if I lean, actually this side will do, you can not only sort of fold the seats, you can actually adjust the angle of the backrest. So if I want them back there, I can have them, but I'll put them back in sort of that position there, that's where they were. So you can adjust the size of the boot depending on how you want it. Interestingly enough, both these Getzes that I've filmed have positive parcel shelf. One of the things about the last car was that the parcel shelf was broken on one side. On this particular car, we don't have one at all. So lift up the boot carpet. This car has come to be at quite short notice, so I do apologise for not being really time to clean it. There we go, we've got a pristine spare wheel, absolutely pristine. Wow, amazing, fantastic. This car is quite low mileage actually. Like a lot of these Getzes, I think it's owned by somebody who didn't use it very much for the first few years. Been in the same family now for quite some time though, which is good. If we get into the back, one of the things I was really surprised about with the last one I drove in 2022 was just how much room there was in the back. It's a nice bit of fabric on the door card. We've got a little bit of sort of rubberized plastic here, like on an Apple Newton. That doesn't necessarily be a good thing. I mean, it probably was really good in 2007 when this car came out, but these are starting to sort of come off of the coating now. So nothing particularly fancy about this really. There's no leather interior, there's no rear armrest or anything. This car's actually got a sunroof, which I don't think the last one did, so the headroom's not quite as good. This just needs adjusting a little bit to be better. We've got an armrest there, we've got the took for the jacket, you've actually got another couple on either side. There's a sunglasses holder there as well. These little differences, they do make the car feel a bit more luxurious. One thing I've noticed is that the courtesy light was actually in the middle, just here, on the last one. Then it's now at the front because of the sunroof, which is good. We like the sunroof. We might actually open that when we go for a drive a bit later on. So high adjustable seat belts, that's good. One thing I would say about this CDX model, which is towards the top of the range, it still looks really austere. Like, we haven't got a leather steering wheel, we haven't got steering wheel controls, we've got not a lot the difference between this and the GSI. This fabric is a bit different, and there are some more interior features, but it's still just very, very plain. I mean, this is very much a no-nonsense kind of car. It's not like a Polo, which you could option up with all kinds of other things, even like you do that on a Corsa, I think. This with a very simple trim structure, and you know, not a lot else. We've got matte pockets though, which is good. Yeah, if I move this seat forward, it would be better. It's okay. We'll change the angle of that backrest. But yeah, I'm pretty surprised to see that driver's door pocket. Got a nice big cup holder down there. No rear door bins, which is a shame. Materials are okay. They're not too bad. Not quite sort of, I don't know, Volkswagen quality yet, but you know, the next car that came along, the i20, was better than this, but still a very, very plain interior. It seems that Hyundai at the time were just very, very keen on their plain interiors, which is fine. A lot of people who'd be buying a car like this just wouldn't care about that. But I've driven so many cars that I just notice all these little differences. Anyway, let's stop being fussy and get into the front. So, one unusual thing about these cars is that as late as 2007, you can see the indicator stalks on the right hand side. I think it was the case also on the Amica, which was a size smaller than this, and first been launched as the Atos back in 1998. So it continued for quite a long time actually. I think until about 2008 it was. So we're getting it. It's pretty comfortable. We've got quite a lot of adjustments on the seats here, which is nice. Still just not really much to talk about apart from the right hand indicator stalk. This plain steering wheel, stereo's very, very simple, single din. You could easily change that for another one if you wanted to. The only really interesting thing about the dash is the circular hazard light switch. Apart from that, there's really not a lot else to say. You've got air conditioning. I think by the time this car was made, it was quite rare not to have air conditioning on a Getz. Little 12-volt socket on the right, and another one with a cigarette lighter on. So we've got left and right, his and hers I presume, the 12-volt sockets, cup holders down there, 5-speed manual. I recognise this gear lever from the other two Getz I've driven. A nice big door bins. Same sort of rubberised finish on the handle for closing the door, and we've got a PowerShot driver's window with electric mirrors. It's a big difference. We've also got the fog light switch here. The other one had a very, very peculiar little thing. I can't quite remember what it was. It was a coin holder, actually, in the place of the front fog lamp. I was correct in guessing that with fog lamps at the front, you've got the switches there. Oh, look at the glove box in a second. Actually, that's really big. Surely mission documents are going there. And yeah, the reason I couldn't fit in properly was because that seat's reclined quite an angle. If I move that forward, plenty of room in the back. You can see literally here that actually the sunroof does occupy quite a lot of the rear headroom. So if you don't have a sunroof, but that does make it a lot lighter in here, then you'd have more space in the back for your head and it would be fine. Yeah, it's not really an awful lot more to say. Controls are very, very simple. The only thing that's sort of missing from here is perhaps a temperature gauge, but you get a couple of lights, so that's fine. It's quite common. There's not really a lot else to say. It's kind of a no-nonsense kind of car. Just realised this section here is also rubberised, like door pulls. I think we'll come and have a look at that storage for my cigarette and documents in a bit. What we'll do now is have a look at the engine. So unlike virtually every Hyundai and Kia engine now, because obviously they're the same company, this is a belt-driven engine. It's called the Alpha 2 engine, this particular one. As you can see on here, we've actually got someone very conscientiously writing when the plugs have been changed, and also I presume that's something to do with the type of cam belt that's fitted. Not really an awful lot to say. These tend to be exceptionally reliable cars if you look after them. So there we go, we can see the type of oil and things like that. We can that's when the last service was. Someone's just very diligently recording what's going on with this car. I don't think it's going to worry any sort of home mechanic. It's just really, really simple. This is a 1.4 with about 96 horsepower, so it's quite lively. You could also get a 1.6 but even more power, about 104 horsepower actually this time. This is probably going to be fine for most people who buy a Getz, isn't it? Absolutely fine. Right, well, let's go on the road and see what it's like to drive. So like a lot of Kias and Hyundais, did I get it right that time? The clutch in this is a little bit on the high side. It tends to be a lot of these. The i10s, which started to be made towards the end of this car's life, are also like this. There might even be a cable clutch in here like it is in an i10. Disappointing. So the base engine available in one of these was again similar to the i10. When the car came out in 2002, it generated just 61 horsepower from 1.1 litres of capacity. I've driven one of those, and it's okay for sort of town use, but really what you want to do is go for one of the larger engines. Fortunately, it was actually upgraded in 2005 with a facelift to about 66 horsepower. But the early ones do 0 to 60 in 15.6 seconds, which is a bit slow. Much better to go for the 1.3 or 1.4. 1.3 is known as an Alpha engine, this 1.4 is called Alpha 2. Again, it came in with a facelift in 2005. This one generates 96 horsepower, but 1.3 was a little bit less, about 81 horsepower. This car does 0 to 60 in about 10.8 seconds. It actually feels quite brisk. It's not a very heavy car, this. And actually, it feels a lot faster and more engaging to drive than you'd think. I'm sort of surprised, actually. When I drove the other one, which was the same engine as this and same gearbox, it didn't feel as quick as this. I'm not quite sure why. Possibly because I'm going on some faster roads today. I don't quite know. You could also get, if you really wanted to go faster, a 1.6. Now that was an Alpha 2 engine all the way through, and it generated either 104 or 105 horsepower depending on the year. That does 0 to 60 in about 9.5 seconds. It would feel quicker than this, so that would be sort of my choice really. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Ride and handling of this car is actually all right. It's quite compliant in terms of the ride. The steering's actually okay. It's probably a hydraulic system in this car, and it drives so much better than it looks. It doesn't look like it's going to be fun, and actually it is. It's engineered reasonably well. It's not the last one in dynamism or anything like that. It's not a Mark 6 Fiesta, which it would directly compete with. Those are even better than this, but it's actually pretty good. You just have to be, really, really wanting something unusual back in 2007, just not to go and buy a Fiesta or a Polo or a Mazda 2 or something like that. And actually, Mazda 2s are very good. You've got to watch out for on these cars, really. Things like neglect. They're not very expensive cars. They haven't been for some time, and someone might have skipped the servicing. They might have bashed into things in the supermarket car park. They might not have done the cam belt. It's just things like that, really. I haven't heard of any other horror stories with these, especially since I did the review of the other one in 2022. I keep on to remember to use the right-hand indicator stalk, which is fine. Obviously, I think on the i10, Hyundai stopped doing that because we got a bit funny about that in this country after a while. That it was only the Japanese and the Korean car makers who were doing that by then, and it just it annoyed a lot of people. It's fine. I drive so many random cars with stalks on the right. I don't really care, but just got to get used to it. Yeah, it's a pleasant enough car. It's quite sprightly. In fact, I actually still quite like this car. It's just there were quite a few other things that you could actually buy at the time, which might have been better in some regards. So when the Getz came out in 2002, the trim levels were CDX, GSI and Sport. Sport wasn't continued after the facelift and was mainly only available with a 1.6 engine, but you could also get the 1.6 in the CDX. You didn't get any more power in the Sport, but hopefully you got a bit of a sportier interior and you know, some nice styling, because otherwise these cars are pretty plain, to be honest. The CDX and GSI continued all the way through. You get a CDX Plus model, but that one we can't talk about on the channel. There was also an Atlantic Special Edition in 2006, which I presume was similar to the Mark III Hyundai Accent Atlantic. It was only sold in three-door form with 1.4, 1.6 engines in this country. I think it was similar to this, to be honest. But an SE with a 1.1 engine came in later on with a facelift. So viewers, should you consider a Hyundai Getz for your hard-earned budget to £1,000? Well, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not the most exciting car inside or outside, but they are very reliable. Actually, they're quite nice to drive. I wouldn't say this is something that most people will desire, but it's a lot of what people will need. Anyway, thank you ever so much once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below. We shall see you again soon for more inexpensive motoring.